Wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another session by UrBizEdge. So for today's, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another session by UrBizEdge. So for today's session, we're having a very special guest by the name Ilias. I hope I pronounce it well, though. So
No
we're
worries.
taking us on this. Okay, thank you. So we're taking us on the topic Power Microsoft Power Platform. So most of you might not know this session was brought to you by Enterprise DNA and UrBizEdge. That's Power BI community of UrBizEdge. So moving next. So let us give a brief description of our biggest partner, which is the Enterprise DNA. So Enterprise DNA, they're mainly focused on empowering the most valuable Power BI users to expand their analytic thinking and insight generating possibility. So most of my know Enterprise DNA is a Power BI training platform. Also, they also help people in getting membership and other cool opportunities. So these are some things about Enterprise DNA. So I'll give a brief description of our company, UrBizEdge. UrBizEdge is a registered Microsoft Excel consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analysis, enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. We specialize in helping companies and high value professionals be on top of their business data skill. So this is our upcoming training. So the one of the first to fourth has passed. So our next upcoming training is on 12th to 13th of November, which is in-depth Excel training, executive dashboard, and business data analysis. The next is 12th to 13th of November, which is big data analysis, Power Query, Power Pivot, and VBA in Excel. So I'll give you a brief description of our special guest, Enea Ilias. Enea Ilias is a business consulting at novaCapta Software and consulting in Cologne with the role of helping customer find solutions using Microsoft Power Platform. He studied computer science with a touch in economics and management. He has a popular YouTube channel where he talks about everything that's to do with Microsoft Power Platform and all packages. And he's also known as the technology evangelist. So this is his LinkedIn and also his YouTube channel. So I'm handing over the session to Ennis. So Ennis, I'll stop sharing my screen now and I'll hand over the session to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So let me share my screen. Can you give me a quick feedback if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, hi everybody, and welcome. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to talk about the Microsoft Power Platform, do a short introduction of the tools, and later on I will continue with the project management tool, which I developed a couple of years ago using the Power Platform, and which is also the project that brought me into these technologies, because before that I was doing something completely different. But one technology was always there, and you will hear about it in a second. So the agenda for today is a small introduction, as we're doing now, and then I will present the Power Platform quickly. And after that, I will show you what brought me to the Power Platform, and maybe this will inspire you to get to these amazing tools as well. And yeah, later on, we can go on a hands-on project management tool development with the Power Platform. I've prepared a couple of stuff, and we can see how we can use Sharepoint lists, Powerapps for Sharepoint forms, Power Automate Flow, and Power BI dashboard for presenting the data. And at the end, we can do a quick wrap up and Q&A. Quickly over me, my name is Enea Ilias Liçaj, and I'm a Power Platform consultant at novaCapta Software and Consulting in Germany. We do everything around the Power Platform for the DACH region. Whoever doesn't know the DACH region consists of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, which are the German-speaking countries in Europe. And yeah, except of that, I love my job so much that I also do it on my free time. That's why I've put there also as a content creator. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I have a website as well, which is still a work in progress, but you can visit it and see what I blog about the Power Platform and the latest videos on my YouTube channel, which you can see on the right-hand side. I've prepared a couple of links here. Oh yeah, they're already posted, as you know. Never mind. I will post only my website and that's it. So quickly over the Power Platform. I don't know, maybe a lot of you have already heard about a platform, otherwise you wouldn't be today here. but I will quickly go through the parts of the Power Platform, and we'll begin with Power BI. Power BI is the oldest member of the Power Platform family. It is a business analysis software, and it has been here for a long time now, but it has now become even more important since analytics and business analytics in general are getting more and more importance in every business and every aspect of the business. So yeah, next, Powerapps. Powerapps is an application development software where you can do small to big applications per drag and drop and with low code. But this can also get very complicated and require a lot of coding. So for simple stuff, it's low code. But if you want to do really complicated stuff, having a computer science background, it's very helpful. Next, Power Automate is a workflow automation tool, which it used to be called Flow. Now they renamed it to Power Automate so that it suits better to the Power Platform naming. And yeah, you can automate workflows like daily stuff you do with Sharepoint or whatever else software you use using Power Automate, and it can save you a lot of time. I mean, having some basic API knowledge and web development knowledge is very helpful, but simple stuff can be done also without any knowledge at all. Just, I don't know, Googling. Yeah, the newest member of the Power Platform is Power Virtual Agents, which are smart virtual agents like the ones we know when we, for example, log into a web page and on the right-hand corner pops up like it looks like a real person, but it's just a bot, where you can ask like basic questions. And when it gets complicated, then they redirect you to a real person where you can call or chat with them. And yeah, so these are the four main pillars of the Power Platform, or the 4 pillars of Power Platform. And these are all based on, as you can see here, Dataverse, which is it used to be called Common Data Service, and it came from Dynamics, the Dynamics world. And it is now used from Microsoft as a powerful and real database that you can leverage for your Power Platform development. It is not free, but it is very capable. So keep in mind that data connectors are the ones that do that handshaking between those apps and the data sources or other apps. So how you can understand the data connectors? For example, if you want to send a notification using Powerapps to a user, you can use the connector called Outlook or Office 365. So that connector does the handshake between the Power App and the user. So it recognizes, okay, you are a logged in user, and you can use that email account, that Exchange account, to send an email, and so on and so forth. That was a very basic example. Last but not least, AI Builder. The AI Builder is a relatively new part of the Microsoft Power Platform world, and it is called AI Builder, but AI is nothing more than a lot of if and else coding parts, right? So what you can do with it is really cool, actually, because imagine you have like tons of invoices coming every month to your company, and you need to classify them or categorize them or send notifications to people based on something. And you can use AI Builder to train a model based on the invoices you're becoming every month. And AI Builder then is capable of, after some training, of categorizing those bills, saving the data somewhere, like in SharePoint list or whenever you want, or a database, and so on and so forth. So it can really save a lot of time. But it is also a very expensive part of the Power Platform. So it is difficult for normal users like yourself or even me to get to play with it. Same like Dataverse, because Dataverse is also not free. That's why I told you keep it in mind. And what I'm showing today is how you can get started with the Power Platform and what brought me to the Power Platform. When I started using the Power Platform, I didn't have like a lot of licenses, or I couldn't ask my boss to give me licenses for AI Builder or Dataverse and so on. So the one place where everybody starts using the Power Platform is actually is actually a place where everybody already is, and that is SharePoint. So in this next slide, I've prepared like it looks a little bit complicated, but yeah, it's actually not very complicated about SharePoint. What I want to show here is the importance of SharePoint in the Power Platform, because a lot of time it is underestimated, and everybody says it's not a real database, and that's true. SharePoint is not a database, but since we're talking about the Power Platform, the meaning of the Power Platform, or the goal of the Power Platform, is to empower everybody to use the Power Platform and to develop. But not everybody is familiar with databases, with cardinalities, with relationships between tables, and so on and so forth. But a lot of people know SharePoint and know how to build a SharePoint list. So what I'm showing here is on the left-hand side, the user using his mobile phone or tablet or PC, and then either writing directly in SharePoint or using a Power App to write in SharePoint or using Teams. And then you can see on the right-hand side from SharePoint, you can use this as a database so that you can output data in a Power App. You can show that data in a Power BI dashboard. And of course, you can embed Power Apps in Power BI or Power BI in Power Apps. So all this interconnection is amazing. And you can see you can even trigger Power Automate flows from Teams, from Power Apps, from Power BI itself. Even now it's pretty new. And maybe send notifications, as you can see at the bottom, to different users. So SharePoint can really help you to start using the Power Platform. And honestly, most of the solutions or most of the problems you have in your daily work, you can solve them with SharePoint. And small to medium solutions is SharePoint more than enough. Maybe for big solution not, I will recommend you to go use a proper database like Dataverse or SQL or whatever. But for beginning and playing around and trying to learn the Power Platform, go with SharePoint, because SharePoint is already there with subscriptions that almost everybody already has, like E3 or Office 365 and so on. So quickly, what brought me to the Power Platform? The issue was that the department where I was working relied on an Excel and PowerPoint-based project management solution. And that was bad because many hours of effort were invested in that type of management every week. So there was also no single source of truth, which means that there was a lot of data inconsistency, which means data was spread out on many places, and nobody knew which one was the last one, right? So that was a problem, and no notifications at all, because you couldn't send notifications from different places, and no automation at all, and etc., etc. So that was a problem. And that's how it looked like before. So they were using PowerPoint for the presentation of the projects, and they had also an Excel spreadsheet for financial tracking of the project milestones. And it looked like something like this that you can see here on the screen. Imagine these are many slides in a PowerPoint presentation, and each project had like its own slide where it was showcasing the status and accomplishments, issues, and so on, and all that stuff you can read on the screen. And this had to be changed every time the project was progressing, right, through the whole life cycle of the project. And as you can see, I have written there some little information around the time, how time-consuming that was. And you can see for the project managers, imagine they had like 10 projects, and 10 project managers having like 2 to 3 projects, and they were creating one slide per project. And this was going every week, because every week we were having like a project presentation or with a leadership team showing how the project were ongoing. So if they are like have issues and so on, so the project managers had to prepare these slides for each of their projects and then showcase them to them. And also for the PMO, which is the project management office, the boss of the managers, how we call it, he had to put all these slides together and then present it on that call. So imagine he had to collect from all the the other project managers and summarize over 30 projects every week and make a PowerPoint presentation to present it to the leadership team. And those are people who are very well paid, so you don't want them to spend so many hours on doing PowerPoint slides. So that was the problem. And what we ended up doing, or what I ended up doing, is go from an Excel and PowerPoint-based project management solution to a partially automated solution based on SharePoint lists, Powerapps, Power Automate, and Power BI for displaying that data. So as you can see here, this is I have saved a couple of screenshots from that old solution. We can try together to build it today. I mean, we won't go that far because it takes a lot of time, but you can see how easy you can start doing something like this and completely transform the way your company or your department is working. So after the development, this was the SharePoint list, or one of the SharePoint lists that they were using. And as you can see, this is just a SharePoint list. And the front, the edit form, it has been customized with Powerapps. So because when I built this, the SharePoint lists were very, very basic. So you couldn't do like hide a column based on it and like conditioning columns. Now you can do that also with SharePoint. You don't need to make it with Powerapps, but I still like to make it to customize a little bit with Powerapps so that those forms would look a little bit nicer. And this was the app. We won't go on and build an app today, but this was also an app you could use. And this was the Power BI dashboard that ended up showing all that data from the SharePoint lists. There were multiple SharePoint lists connected together, and they were all presented then in a Power BI dashboard. So at the end, from having to build like multiple slides every week for presenting these projects, they had the project managers had then a central database, SharePoint, where they can always go update the projects through the life cycle. And the project manager, the PMO manager, who wouldn't have to put any slides together anymore because all that was refreshed automatically to this Power BI dashboard. So you could anytime go to this dashboard and see the progress of the project, which was for them like life-changing. Here, here's a short presentation of the logic where you can see the project came from the Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics application, and when they reached the lead for 95%, which means the project was won, they were copied with Power Automate into a SharePoint list called the handover tracker. So that was automatically done with Power Automate. Before that, it was manually done from the salespeople into an Excel spreadsheet. And then the leadership team had to go through that Excel spreadsheet. Now that was not necessary anymore because it was automatically copied in the handover tracker. And based on that status, if it has been handed over or not, another Power Automate flow will catch that item and then will notify the finance team and the project manager who was assigned to that project. We will see that in a second. And also that flow would create a copy of that project in the PMO SharePoint list, which was a bigger SharePoint list having more information about the project. And that SharePoint and then another SharePoint list called the milestone tracker, which was tracking all the milestones from that project. And all that information was then displayed in a Power BI dashboard. That was not yet. So I will now jump to my SharePoint and show you what that looks like. Let me stop sharing this screen. 1 second, let me change the screen. So. Can you see my screen again?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yes.
Thank you. So as I saw you on the diagram of the logic behind of the development, I've already prepared a couple of SharePoint lists so that we don't have to go through them and populate some demo data. As you can see here, imagine these are the projects that were just won. We have project ID, like project name, the customer, the budget of the project, and where it should start, and the number of milestones. I've just put myself here as a project manager so that we don't notify somebody else. But here's the status of the project, like it has been handed over, or you can see it here, or it is cancelled or pending. So when a project starts or is written in here from Power Automate, it is always pending because the leadership team has to go here and assign it to a project manager based on who is available. Sorry, not the leadership team, the PMO manager. And after the project has been handed over to a project manager, it will be then copied to PMO, which is another SharePoint list that I told you, with containing a little bit more information. And this is where the project managers will then go in and change the information about the project. How is the cost going? Is it green, which means good, of course. Red is bad, and amber is like it's so-so. And here they were writing like status and accomplishments, issues and risks, next steps, and so on. And yeah, so this entry has been done automatically from Power Automate. And the third SharePoint list is this one here, which was the milestones. So if I group this, 1 second, let me group it. Group by project ID. That should be it. So as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects, which were the ones coming from the handover tracker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one saying D1234 project ID has 5 milestones, and the Power Automate will create here 5 milestones, as you can see here. And then the project managers will go on and put like information about how much is the financial milestone of this milestone, right? Because if you finish like one milestone or one step of the project, you can bill it already. That's how it worked. And all this now is done automatically. We can showcase in a second. Let me show you the Power Automate flow first. So this here is the Power Automate flow that does not from Dynamics. I'm not showing from Dynamics because I'm not using Dynamics anymore. But imagine the flow that puts it from Dynamics in the handover tracker is already done. And now the project, the PMO manager has assigned a project manager and has marked the item as handed over. So this flow now looks into this handover tracker SharePoint list. And when an item is created or modified, I have put here a trigger condition, which, because I don't want it to be triggered every time something is created, but I want to look inside and see if the body in the body of the get items, the status and the value has the handed over. So if this column status has the value handed over, then it will be triggered. So I put this in the trigger conditions. And next was the create item in the PMO, so which is the bigger SharePoint list. And this will take the items that were coming from the one created and create them in that other SharePoint list. Then I'm initializing 2 variables. One is the var milestones number, which comes from the handover tracker, this number 5 or number 7. I initialize it as an integer because it was keeping, it kept recognizing it as a string. I don't know why. So I put it in an int condition here so that it can convert it to an integer. The next variable is a counter. It's an integer and it is empty. So what I do here is I take the var milestones count and I say do until, so create an item in the PMO milestone until the counter is equal to the amount of milestones number. And I'm incrementing that counter here by 1. So what this does is it keeps incrementing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until it is equal to the variable milestones, the one I'm saving here. So when it reaches 5, it stops. And then I also, since it is one loop, every time it increments, it creates an item, which is a milestone in the milestones SharePoint list. And then I go on and post a message in Teams to that project manager that has been assigned, saying, okay, here's the following link to PMO to update your information for the project. Here's a link to the milestones, and that's it. That was like, I don't know, half an hour work, and it saves so much time, and it also it's making sure that you don't make any mistakes. I mean, it would be bad if you like copied instead of 6,000, 60,000. No? You can check it, but still, you don't. It's safer that way. So if we can, if you want, we can test it now, and I will manually test it. So it triggers faster. Okay, so now it's waiting for me to create a new project. Let's say I'm the Power Automate flow from Dynamics, and I'm creating here a new project, which is, let's say, project ID, project name, Power BI development. Customer name is Contoso again, which is 6. Budget is 10,000. Start date is in 2 weeks. And they will be 7 milestones. I am the project manager again, so that I can get the notification, and the status is pending. So if I save this now, we should see that this, if everything works, we should see that this flow will not trigger. And by now it should have triggered if it was the right one. So we can check that if I go back now and I see all runs, here on the top right corner, I can see that checks no new data, and you can see that this was triggered a couple of seconds ago because it triggers every time you do something, but it doesn't do anything more. It just it's skipped. So that's the point of that trigger condition. So now if I go here and manually test again, you don't have to do the manually test. I just do it because so that it can trigger faster. So now it is waiting for a change. And I will, let's say that I will go on and make this as handed over. Actually, now would be the step where I put the project manager, but it doesn't matter. So I set this to hand it over. Now it's saved. And let's take a look. It says your flow is running, and it recognized the trigger condition. It's true. It should have created an item in the Pmo Sharepoint. We see here all the information I just put in the handover tracker. It's now in the Pmo demo list, and all that information over here. We can see the variables. This was the value 7, which came from the milestones here. And this was empty, so it has created 7 items. So it ran 7 times, incrementing the value and creating the items in the Pmo milestones. And since I'm presenting, I didn't hear a dong, but you can see here that one second, wrong chat. I got here the notification, which is now in Power Automate, from Power Automate in Teams. And yeah, let's take a look. So this was the handover tracker in SharePoint. Now this is the Pmo Dashboard, Pmo SharePoint list, and this is my newly created item here. We can see the Power BI development 10,000, and it doesn't have any information here because it's now the work of the project manager. That's why I was notified. It puts everything in green because when a project starts, is everything okay? And the project manager then has to go throughout the life cycle of the project and change the information here. And if we see in the Pmo milestones, I think this was the one. Yeah, we can see Power BI development, and it created 7 items. So these are our 7 milestones. But again, it cannot split that 10,000. It could split that 10,000, but I think that's too complicated to do because not every milestone has the same financial milestone value, which means one milestone can be much bigger than the other 6. So we always left this empty for the project manager to go in here and put the values of each milestone, and because these are written in the contract, and put the start date and end date and so on. If you would go further and build this out, and you can use, for example, AI Builder to read that contract from with the customer, and see how much what the value of each milestone is, and then put that value in here. It's doable, but this was a very simple and cheap solution. So yeah, as you can see, it created now all these milestones. And as I showed you in the demonstration or in the presentation, we used to have Powerapps edited. So as you can see, if you click New, this is the basic SharePoint list form editor, which looks very nice actually now, because back in the days it didn't used to look like this pretty. And now you can also go here on the right hand corner. You can edit the columns, and you can use even conditional formulas to show columns based on some conditions. And this was not back in the day, so this was not possible. So the only way possible to make this look pretty and put like conditions. For example, if I have like drop downs, and based on that selection, show me other columns or hide them, you could only do that with Powerapps. So what I like to do now is I like to go here and customize this with Powerapps, only so that I can give like like the feeling of having like an app in SharePoint. And this shouldn't take us very long. I will just like to show you how easy it is to make it look a little bit nicer. And let's give it a couple of seconds. Yeah, and there it is. We can see now the information, almost all the information that we had in our SharePoint lists. So this is Powerapps now. We have here on the left-hand side, it's in German, so I will translate for you. The screens, we have one screen, which is our SharePoint edit form. And here are the data cards. It has start date, budget, customer name, project name, and title. If I remember, I think it's missing one. Let me check. So we have project name, customer name. So there are a couple more here which are missing here. So we can bring them on the right-hand side in the field section. We can add this here. So here edit fields, and input fields, and we can see here some of the columns that are missing are the project manager, schedule, scope, status, stats and accomplishments. We have issues and risks, cost. I think that's it. So if you select that, then it should put it in here. And you can rearrange them. So at the top, you see a title, project, and customer, which is okay. But if you want to rearrange them, you can rearrange them here on the right-hand side. So you can put customer above and so on. But let's put it back as it was. And this is all contained into this SharePoint in this edit form. And you can make this edit form smaller, as you can see here. And what I like to do is put like a header or a footer. So I like to go here in the symbols section and put like a square here, make it a nicer color. We're not going to that much into design now, but as you can see, it has now a header. And what we can demonstrate here, we can have a text box, make it also a little bigger, and have here the text saying, instead of just saying text, we can have project name. So our data source is Pmo demo touch project. So this is our data source. We can see here Pmo demo, and it says here it's a table. And so here's our data card value. This is our group project name data card, which has this star, which is invisible, the error message, which will pop up if something is error. This is the data card with the value inside, and this is the data card key, which is the name. So if we get this data card here, and we can use it in the text section, text, this should actually show, now it's black, so let's make this white. This should show the name of the project. Put this in the middle, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and here at the bottom, we can have this rectangle here. Oops. Also at the bottom. And what we could put here is, for example, another text. And this could show, instead of text, we could show the username, maybe. That full name, which in this case should be my account. Make this white. You can see here my name. And what we can do here is we can use concatenate and make, for example, logged in user, semicolon, and then use the end icon character to make it like this and say logged in user Enea Licaj. We can also put an image control down there, which is over here. And sorry, clicked away. Okay, now I make this. So that's the image. It's not that perfect, but you can put it down there. And instead of sample image, we can use see user again. And if you select dot, you can see here all the options that you can get from that connector. And we can use the image. So this now should bring my image. You can make it pretty, you can make it round and so on. I think making it round, it's on the right-hand side here. I think it's like 90. Or 9, I don't remember very well. No, that's the wrong one. Oh, here, sorry. It's very small. As you can see, it's trying to make it round. As you can see, it's trying to make it like rounded. But anyways, that's something you can play around with. You can make it prettier. And yeah, I think this looks much better than the basic one. So you can make this form get to the top and the bottom. And if I now select save and of how it's called in English, yeah, post it to SharePoint or make it for everybody visible. And now if we go back to SharePoint, this will bring us back to the SharePoint list we were. And if I refresh the page 1 or 2 times to be sure and select new, not yet. So as you can see here now, this is populating the Power App. And I broke this project manager. It looks terrible, but imagine being it normal. I clicked there too fast and brought the title below it. But yeah, as you can see, it took us like 5 minutes, and I think it already looks better. If we edit one, you can see at the top it says Sharepoint automation. It grabs the name of the Sharepoint project name, and it populates the information and so on and so forth. And it has your picture down there, like logged in. You can say like welcome, blah blah, make different screens, and it took me like 5 minutes. So that's it. That's it with Powerapps, right? And this kind of development, as I did it now for the SharePoint form, edit form, is the same if you do a separate app or if you do it for SharePoint. The way you develop it is exactly the same. The only difference here is that when you start from a SharePoint form, it's linked to this SharePoint form. You cannot use it for anything else. It's just for this SharePoint form. So that's the only difference there. Yeah, so what I would like to do next is we can start putting that Power BI dashboard together. I know we will not get that far because that takes a lot of time, but we can take a look on how easy that is to do, like simple data presented in a dashboard and make it accessible to many other people. So I will jump to my Power BI application here and bring these ones on the side so that I can see them. And this is Power BI. I imagine many of you have already seen this. And we can go on and grab the data first. So we get here, or go here to get data. Next, I will select Other and Sharepoint list, select Connect. So now this is asking for the site URL. Many people just go here and copy this URL, but this will not work. Power BI, when it says site URL, it only needs the root of the site URL. So until the SharePoint site name, not the list. And after pasting that in there, selecting OK. It then loads everything that's in that SharePoint site. And if I scroll down here, we have PMO demo and the milestones. These are the two we are going to use today. We don't need handover tracker. So the project managers only need to see, and the leadership team only need to see the projects. So what I like to do after that, or what we have to do after that, instead of just loading them into the model, we go on and transform the data. This will pop up, bring up the Power Query. And here we can see on the left-hand side the queries, which is the PMO demo and the PMO milestones demo. These are seen as tables, and Power BI loads all the columns that are saved in that SharePoint list. And if you imagine SharePoint list being tables, you can see that also has a database behind. We are using now SharePoint as a database, but actually SharePoint is not a database, but we are using it as a storage, data storage. But SharePoint itself has also a database, and it's storing a lot more information that we see in that SharePoint list. So as you can see here, all these columns come from that SharePoint list. And sure, many of them are the ones I created, like milestone, status, and so on. But there are a lot of columns and a lot of data here coming from that database, from SharePoint's database. And we don't need all of this. So what I do next is I go here and choose columns. I deselect everything, and I will only select the columns that I need. Let's bring this on the side. So I need project name, customer name, budget, start date, status, milestone. Oh yeah, we are in the milestones demo. End date. We need what's else there? I think the project manager. Yeah. So I select OK, and then I removed everything else. So I kept only the ones I selected. So it's like filtering, and we can see that on the right-hand side. I really love this applied steps functionality in Power BI, because it's not like the simple undo button that we know in Office 365. Here you can not only just jump behind. You can see I'm jumping to the step before where all the data columns were there, but you can even go to the settings of that step, which means you can go a couple of steps behind, change the settings of that step you took, like, I don't know, half an hour ago, and then go back to the last step here. And those settings then will apply throughout the rest of the steps. You just need to take care or keep in mind that if you change something that doesn't compile with the rest of the steps, you will get errors. So everything you change before is like traveling back in the past. If you don't have, you cannot change the past, right? Because it will ruin your future. So anyways, as we can see here, we have the columns that we need: project manager, customer name, and so on and so forth. And this is the project manager column. It says here it's a record. The reason for that is because the project manager, it's a people picker column, and that consists of, it's a table itself, which has many columns. And we saw that when we edited that Power App, when we use the user and parentheses, and we selected that, we saw the other columns that were inside that table, because the users is also a table. You can see it, or you can imagine as a table, and has a full name, an email column. It has like a department, or so on and so forth. And the same works this one. So we can see here it's a record. And if we expand this column, we can see here all those columns that are behind this project manager table, like crazy lot of information that we don't need. And what I do here is I deselect all. And in this case, I only need the first name and the last name. I select OK. I usually remove this column name as prefix. What this does is it uses this project manager column name here as a prefix, and it puts dot and then first name, or dot last name. We can leave it so I can see what this means. But if you remove it, so as you can see, it creates two columns, one with the first name, one with the last name. And it takes the original column, which was project manager, as a prefix. I actually don't need that because I remove it anyways. But yeah, if you don't want it, make sure you uncheck that box. So with double click, I rename it. And we have here the end date. Next to the name of the column, you can change the type of the column. You can see here. And this is text. This one is also text. This is the end date of the milestone. I will do this to a date. I don't want the times. Milestone is a whole number. The status is also text. The start date is also date. Budget is a fixed decimal number, which means currency. Customer name is text, and the project name is text as well. And there we go. I don't know how long that took. If I wasn't talking, that would have taken maybe 2 minutes. Next, our PMO list, which was this one with here with the cost schedule and so on. We just customized the milestone one. I removed it. Let me bring it here so that I can see the columns that I need. And I go again here, choose columns. I remove everything. And here I want, where is it? I think title. Did I miss title in another column? I might have to check. Title. As you can see here, this column, it's called project ID. I renamed this. Actually, this is the title column. But Power BI usually, Power BI does not see the renamed name. It sees the name the column has when it has been created. So there's a difference there. And let me show you how you can see the original name. As you can see here, the project ID, project name, and so on is the one we can see. But if we go to the list settings, and then we can see here, it says title. It's not renamed here. They never renamed it here. So if you can see here the project name, this over here in the URL, we can see the actual name that it's saved in the Sharepoint database. So this is the name Power BI will see. And that's why it sees title as well, because title, that's the name in the database. Power BI connects to a database. It doesn't connect to this Sharepoint list that we are seeing. Anyway, so back to the development of the Power BI dashboard. So we need title, project name, customer name, budget, start date, status, cost, schedule, scope, status and accomplishments, issues and risks. And as you can see, that's why you see the columns written without any spaces, because Power BI SharePoint in the backend, it somehow writes it in its own way. Next step, role assignments. And the project manager. So keep in mind, whenever you don't find your column because you have another name in your SharePoint list, just go there in the SharePoint list settings and see in the URL how your column is really named. Okay, so let's select that. We have here the code. I think I missed the title here. So again, that's where you can leverage these really cool applied steps functionality of Power BI. And you can go back to the segment where we removed other columns. You can see here, and you have this little gear next to that step. And if I click that, we go back to those settings. And here I can get the title column again. Select OK. And now the title column is in here, in this step. And if I jump to the last step I took, it's again in there, and also my new columns. So this is really cool. Like you can go back, change settings, jump back again. Okay, so now our columns, oh no, not yet, project manager. So now I'm not going to select the user regional column as prefix. I will deselect here everything as well. And I want the first name, last name, select OK. And as you can see here, the columns are just called first name, last name. So I don't have to rename them again. Let's change the types to text. These are all text, text, text. Oops. Now Power BI doesn't like to play anymore. Let's try that. Okay, now it likes again. So this is text. All that is text. Status is also text. So the start date is date. Budget is fixed decimal number. And we can see here the budget. Customer name is text. The project name is text as well, and the title is also text. And now here it also has to be made to text. So okay, so now our tables are ready. No? If I now go here, close and apply, this the changes we made in the Power Query segment will now load into the model of Power BI, which is you have to think Power BI it's separated into places, the Power Query and the model, like the front end of Power BI, where we do all the visualizations and so on. So now, as you can see here on the right-hand side, I have my two tables and my columns, and I can start working with them. But first, we have to create a relationship, or as you can see, Power BI already did that for me. And this is here the relationships segment. Here you need to have like basic knowledge of relational databases and cardinalities, like relationship between tables. There are a couple of relationship types, like one-to-many, one-to-one, and so on. I imagine you all know that. But for the people who don't know that, this can be a little bit complicated. So I do a lot of Power BI training, and people who start working with Power BI don't know that stuff. And that's why I'm doing this presentation today. So for not only for the experts out there, but also for the people who are afraid to start working with these tools because they don't know basic database knowledge or stuff. So as you can see here, Power BI took care of that, and it created a relationship, a one-to-many relationship. We can see it here. It has a 1 and it has a star, which means many, between our PMO Sharepoint list and our milestones. Why did you do that? Because it recognized, here if I scroll down, in the title segment that we have in the PMO Sharepoint list, the title once, and it comes up multiple times in the PMO milestone list. So it's a one-to-many. We have here in the SharePoint list, we have one project with the ID 1234, and we have 5 milestones with that ID. So it recognized that, and it created a one-to-many between these two SharePoint lists. And yeah, so now I have 5 more minutes, but we can start and put this Power BI dashboard together. I'm not going to do it as pretty as I did back then, but let's give it a try. So I had here like a table where we can put the project name and then maybe the status. So here are our projects. And I might put here like a text. This will have our status and accomplishments here. This looks terrible because it needs a lot of fine tuning, and it takes a lot of time. So I will remove the category and put the title there. The title is Status and Accomplishments. And make this in the middle, make it a little bit smaller. I will copy and paste this times, and I will change this. Instead of status of accomplishments, we have then issues and risks. And here we have, did I forget one? Next steps? No, there it is. Next steps. Okay, so here I need to change the title. This was issues and risks of the project. And this one is showing the next steps. Okay. And what I want to do here is also put another table showcasing our project name, milestones, and maybe the status of the milestone and the budget, something like that. This is summarizing the milestones, so it should not do that. Don't summarize. So as you can see here, it now has all the information. Let's make this a little bit wider. And we can bring here like maybe the title as well. Okay, and here we can put like a slicer somewhere, having our project name. And what I like to do is also make it a little bit prettier. Again, this is very time consuming if you start going into design, but yeah, doesn't take that much of time. And we can put here like some text saying project management tool. Make this bigger. And now, as you can see, let me change the background. It's way too white. Make something like that. Yeah. Anyways, we're not going to do it pretty, make it pretty now. But as you can see, now it doesn't matter how many projects they are coming in. You can select here. Okay, show me that project, and you don't even need this table. And now it's filtering the portal's development, showing me only the milestones that belong to that project and the budget. And here's the text. I've copy pasted the text actually. This is dumb because we cannot see that this is changing, but actually this is changing based on the project. Now this is blank, for example, because this is the one we just created today. As you can see here in the PMO demo, the D9635. Is it that one? This doesn't have any text here, but it should have the milestones. D9365. Did I delete the milestones? No, D9635. Anyways, let's try another one. Yeah, as you can see here, D777. It's here. And we have that D777 and then PMO, we have here 3 milestones. And these ones are showing here, 3 milestones. And yeah, as you can see, you don't need to do anything anymore, because this will, of course, you have to make it pretty and so on, and you have to publish it. You will need then Power BI Pro license. But after publishing and setting up the securities and who is allowed and sharing it with the right people, making their automatic refresh, activating their automatic refresh, which is 8 times a day as standard, you don't have to do anything more. You don't have to create any slides. In our case, everything is here. The project managers go to SharePoint, put the data in here, and the leadership team can anytime just go into Power BI. Okay, I want to see how this project is going on. I can see here the status of the milestones. There's all on track. What the project managers have written here, like are there any issues? Discuss them, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if I would share my screen again, I would like to. Oops, what happened there? I would like to say thank you, and if you have any questions, just go on.
Okay. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. Are there any questions? Hello. Are there any questions?
It doesn't have to be, no. Just,
doesn't have to.
I've been talking enough. Maybe they don't want to hear me anymore.
But thanks a lot. Someone right? Oh my God.
Thanks a lot for the wonderful presentation.
No, you're welcome.
That was a lot.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, if I
yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, at the end of the presentation, we asked 2 questions. So we'd just like to know, like, how you got into Powerapps. Just a brief, maybe a walkthrough.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much talked about this the whole session. What brought me to the Power Platform, and it was searching for a solution for the time-consuming method that we were using, and without spending like a lot of money. And this is something you can do with the basic licenses you have, and with some development time and fine tuning over the time, you can change the way you work. So this is what introduced me to the Power Platform. And since I've built this, I didn't want to do anything else anymore. I used to work with Microsoft Teams a lot. I used to do a lot of Microsoft Teams work, and after that, I just wanted to work with the Power Platform. So yeah, that's what brought me to the Power Platform.
Then the second question will be, like, what advice can you give to those that want to start out? Maybe how can they start out? How can they just start? Like, how can they get started?
Well, the advice I will give you is don't be afraid to play around, because you cannot break anything. Just get out there and start using it. You can even start by just watching other people. I mean, there are so many people out there on YouTube and so on, like awesome people like Shane Young and Reza Dorani. I mean, I still learn from them, and it's for free. I mean, just take a look, see what they do, how it looks like, and I imagine that can be a very good start if you don't have like the tools yet. And as soon as you can use them, because you have a laptop, you have a license that you need, and so on, you can start using them. But you can also, I don't have the link now prepared. I should have done, but there's also a development subscription at Microsoft that you can apply for free, and you can get the full spectrum of the Power Platform for free and use it for development purposes. And you can play around in there, do everything you want, make YouTube videos, whatever you want with that license. So you don't have to use your company account or private account. So just go out there and try.
Okay, thanks so much, share the link.
Yes, I see.
Okay.
Sharing it. You find the other thing about it.
Okay, so the last thing is so the Power BI learning community is being sponsored by Enterprise DNA, and at the end of every session they give a free membership to the participant. So we usually let the speaker ask a question to the audience, and the first person to write the correct answer in the chat box gets the free membership for this session. So you can ask any question. Could be something you mentioned within the session, or something you did on Power Platform, or just anything you mentioned during the session will be all right.
Like,
But for any question at all, but for those that want to stand the chance, you have to type in your answer in the chat box, and you just have to like it. So you should, when you see a correct answer, just put a thumbs up on the response.
So should I write the question or should I write the answer?
No. You can mention the question. You can say it out. You don't have to write it.
Okay. The question I would ask is how do you see the back end name of your SharePoint column? How do you find that out? What does SharePoint see? What does Power BI see? How is that column name saved? I showcased it today, so.
So we're waiting for answers from you all. Just type the answer in the chat box. I hope the question is people are not finding it really tough. But I see people who are following. I'm expecting someone to get the answer.
I'm sure a lot of people have paid attention and know the answer, I'm sure.
So
or is everybody Googling now?
I was like calling our names. Sadiq, Betty, Leon, LM, Oluwatobi, Rihanna, Sega. There's also someone else who I'm not able to read the name, but all of us, everyone, I'm hoping to get someone giving us the right answer so that Enea can like the answer and then we get the winner for today. And your competition is not that much because you all stayed to the end, so you already okay. I see it's like Enea. Someone has answered. What do you think about the person's answer?
Yeah, very right. Yeah, that's right. SharePoint list settings and then column. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
I cannot read the name of the person, but it's
so I'm not the only one who is. So, Ifeanyi, can you help us? Okay, it says his name is Ami.
Ami. Okay, so
that's
Ami,
Amy. That's Amy Diamond.
Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Okay, great. So, Ifeanyi,
you can send the to webinar.@UrBizEdge.com. Just send text in your name.
Your name. Email us your name.
Just your name. Just your name. So no Amy Diamond. Okay.
Okay. I think with that,
we have got to head of the show.
Yeah,
okay, then also again, you guys should check out Enea's his website. No, his website. Yeah, you can check out his YouTube for resources, but also check out his website. In his website, he does this calendar stuff where you can get you can see different events for different Power Platform related to webinars. So you can get you see different list of events done by our events are also listed there. They're also from other part of the globes, usually Power BI, Power virtual agents. So like the different free events where people host. They're all on his website. So you just go there and you see lists with the dates and links to John and everything. So you should actually check out his webinar. All right, now, so thank you for the session.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And next week, Oscar is coming.
Oh, Oscar. Oscar's a good friend of mine. Yeah, very nice.
Next week. All right. Now, thank you for this wonderful session.
All right.
Thank you.
I can close it, right? Or is there any other thing we
Yes.
need?
No, you can end the session.
So again, thank you very much, Enea. Thanks to everyone who has joined us today, and to everyone who practiced along. And see you all next week. And to Enea, our special guest today, thank you very much. Definitely will need to watch the recording because I'm not good with Power Platform, so a lot of these were new to me. So I know with your resources and the way you explained, I'll be able to practice. So I advise everyone to needs to practice more. You can always go and get the recording and watch it at your pace and try to practice and use the free resources, developer resources he has mentioned. So thank you and bye-bye to everyone. Have a very nice week ahead. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another session by UrBizEdge. So for today's